Camden National Bank is celebrating 150 years of supporting the communities of Maine and New Hampshire. And it's all thanks to you. From one location in Camden to 72 banking centers today, our journey has only been possible because of your trust and loyalty. One thing that remains constant is our commitment to giving back, from supporting local businesses at Autumn Gold in Ellsworth, sponsoring the Seaside series in Stonington, to helping the elderly at Acadia Senior College. We're grateful to have this vibrant community be part of our story. And thank you to our partners, Downeast Famous, that's celebrating the people who make this region so special. Here's to the next 150 years together.
Welcome to the Downeast Famous podcast. I'm your host, April Shaw-Beaudoin, and I am delighted to be joined by my co-host, Jena Young of Side Street Cafe, and we are going to be chatting today with Daron Goldstein, and that's how you say it, correct?
Correct.
From Provender Kitchen in Ellsworth, and I'm comfortable saying it's the best restaurant in Ellsworth. I was looking at some Google reviews yesterday, and a lot of people were saying it's the best restaurant from Boston to Bar Harbor. Yeah,
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. We have a lot of great feedback from a lot of the platforms like that, and I think it's a testament to our consistency. You know, I say all the time, we're only as good as our last meal we serve. You know, so we try to hit that, be great every time.
Yeah. Well, I've eaten there, and Jena has too.
I have, yeah.
We can give you a thumbs up. That's true.
Right.
I know you were just waiting for our thumbs up
yes.
to really
all
feel
right.
like you
Make
made
sure
it.
it was good. Right. All right. Very good.
People also rave about your staff. I think, you know, the consistency of the food is unparalleled, but also how friendly and...
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think that's a big thing, you know, not to have just great food, but have great service and what I call elevated hospitality as well. We always try to recognize people by first name. I can't tell you how many times we've had people come in and we've already have their drink poured before they come in. We have a lot of year-round regulars. So it's important to us to treat everybody as they're a guest in our house.
And you are from Boston originally.
Right. Originally 30 minutes south of Boston, and we've been in Maine, my wife and I, for 10, 11 years. She always corrects me on that, but it's somewhere around there.
And in Ellsworth the whole time?
Well, we were in Portland area for like 3 or 4 years. So Ellsworth, 7 or 8.
And she's from?
She's originally from Southern Maine.
Oh, Southern Maine.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm the only one from Boston.
Okay.
And it was funny when I first moved up here, when I met her, you know, I talk fast, I have a Boston accent. She was like my translator for 2 years. You know, no one can understand a word coming out of my mouth. So it's a little better now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, one of the things I want to start out talking about, and I know you and Jena are going to be able to really have a lot of things in common being restaurant owners, although you're not a chef, correct?
No.
No chefing for Jena.
No, that fascinates me. I'll have questions about that later.
But I want to hear what it was like for you to move from Boston and the fast pace of life down there and be in Ellsworth.
Yeah, sure. It was definitely a culture shock for at first. You know, coming from Boston, you know, eating late night, you know, finding all these different things to eat, being able to go anywhere was something I was very used to. And then coming up here, where everything kind of shuts down around the 8 o'clock, 8:30. You know, but coastal Maine is beautiful, you know, and, you know, Maine has treated us right. It was a very, more of an easier transition than I thought it would be.
And it's also been a great place for you to raise a family. You have 2 sons.
Yeah, I do. I have 2 boys, 11 and 9, Grayson and Ari. So they're very involved in sports and the schools, and they're in and out of the restaurant all the time. So yeah, well, they love the area.
Yeah, and they can just walk around Main Street, which is, I don't know, maybe that was a similar way to how you grew up. Your parents let you just roam Boston?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I grew up in a small community, kind of like Ellsworth.
Okay.
Where everybody kind of knew everybody, and yeah, you could ride your bike. It's a little bit different. Our neighbors in Massachusetts, our neighbors were right next door. My neighbor now is like a mile away. You know, so the kids don't have exactly that same upbringing with the neighborhood-esque kind of things a little bit, but you know, they have a lot of friends and we're always doing stuff and going over to friends' houses. So they love it.
Yeah. And I got to meet both of your sons last week when we were doing the interview for you to be in the book. And I think the oldest one said he wants to be a chef.
Yeah, I think so. They love the restaurant. And I think that's all well and great. I'd rather them go into finance. You know, I think there's easier ways to make money. But if that's something they want to do, I support them whatever they want to do.
Amazing.
You know, so But yeah, they're sometimes they're downstairs prepping or they're upstairs. You can catch them shining glasses at nighttime. So
There's
they're
nothing
involved.
like a restaurant kid. Did you grow up in the restaurant industry?
I didn't. My first job was definitely restaurant industry when I was like 14,
Okay.
and I definitely fell in love with the industry and all the things that came along with it. And I've never really done anything else, but I think it builds character. I think everybody should wash dishes once in their life. I think everybody should work in a restaurant and be on that side of things. I think it gives you a little more appreciation when you go out to eat, for sure.
I'm actually curious because April knows more about your background, where we live closer and I know more about the current.
Sure.
Was it always your plan and goal to move here and start a restaurant?
It wasn't. It kind of just happened. We were working in Portland, and my wife and I said, well, let's go to Bar Harbor for a season. At the time we loved to bike and hike, and it seemed like a great place to do that. Well, little did we know that coming up here and working up here, there is no time for hiking and biking. So we finished the season, we're out of here. Went back down to Portland, but then we got a phone call saying, we want to come back up here. We had a business partner at the time we were going to open a restaurant, and one thing led to another. It didn't really work out, but we were up here anyway, and that's when Provinder kind of presented itself. It wasn't Provinder at the time, but the building that Provinder was in presented itself to us right at the right time. And either we're going to stay or we're going to go. We decided to stay, open Provinder, and here we are 8-9 years later, still going.
Such a cool space. You've been into it. It's a beautiful
gorgeous
space. It has so much history.
Yeah,
and so many
original
great.
woodwork.
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah, 1930. I mean, we have a picture in the back from 1950. It looks pretty much the same.
Wow.
Yeah,
people need to come in and see it if they haven't.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. A lot of character there. We have people coming in. Their grandmother sat in the same booth, 80 years ago, and they're like, I can't believe it. So we put a little love back in the building. Modernized it a little bit, put some new, But other than that, yeah, it's a same thing, same place, same building.
The booths are really special inside your restaurant. And how many booths are there?
Yeah, we have 8 booths. So those are always the first to go.
Yes.
When reservations. People are like, oh, I can't have a booth. And they give me this look like, oh my God, the food's not going to taste the same at the table. I'm like, don't worry, everything will be fine. But I tell people, if you want a booth, you got to, book early, make a reservation because they go fast.
Yeah, they're special. Let's talk about what people can expect to eat when they go in there. What's on the menu? I know there's 2 items that you said are on the menu from day one.
Yes, true. One of our visions was when we opened Provinder was anybody can come in and eat. I call it lawyers to lobstermen, and somebody will always be able to find something, whether it's the burger that has been on the menu since day one, who is now has its own following, or you can have, the duck breast or lamb rack, halibut, mussels. So there's something for everybody. You can, and it's the same experience. If you want to come in and have a burger and a beer, you'll be treated just like if you were coming down in here and having the 3-course tasting menu. So we definitely take pride in that anybody can find something to eat there.
How often do you change the menu?
Oh boy, all the time. Definitely seasonally, and then in between seasons, if I'm bored or something's not selling, or just I feel like I've cooked this too many times. My staff is like, "Oh my God, Daron." And they just learned that dish. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to do this instead. So they have a whole list of ingredients now, new ingredients to learn. So we'll constantly change the menu. I just changed the accompaniments to the duck last week. We added a new burrata salad on there. So honestly, my wife's yelling at me like, we're constantly printing paper and the ink. I'm like, it's just one thing. And so... But I can't help it.
I was going to say, I feel like small businesses are always an extension of the owner. Like it's the same personality business. Does that feel true? Is that an extension of who you are?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm doing 100 different things, trying different things, but it's always with me as a chef is like finding the next best thing, new ingredients coming out or using, another technique or somebody I saw something doing, some of the great chefs that I follow out in like Chicago. I'm like, oh my God, how do you do that? So I'm like, we're let's see if we can do a riff on something like that. And especially we have such great, summer is such great produce now and fruits are around and I want to use it all.
Right. It sounds like no matter what industry you had ended up in, that would be your take on that industry, that that's who you are as a person, and that it comes through your business in that way, which is pretty cool.
It really does. And honestly, I didn't even know that until we started doing Provender and, being on social media and writing menus all the time. And it's just, I think I've been doing it since day one, not even knowing I'm doing it,
Yes.
and it's worked out pretty well. People, we have a lot of regulars who are coming in and have gone through the menu, and, that way we can constantly change things and they have something new, or they can look forward to the special coming on. But I get bored easily, so I have
But you're
to
authentically,
Yep.
it's coming through well.
It is, and I have to keep doing it. Summertime, I try not to do it as much because things are so busy. I don't want to make things too difficult for the kitchen and the staff, but I still do it.
Yeah.
How much staff do you have?
We have a pretty limited, I would say limited staff. We've been, used to, things have changed in the past like 5-6 years for sure. We try to do more with less.
Mhm.
And, so we have like just enough people, whether it's 6-7 cooks, 6-7 staff, wait staff, just some other help, bussers and food runners and stuff like that. So we used to have a bigger staff, but due to a very unique time in help right now that we, like I said before, we're doing more with less people.
What are some of those challenges? We both live in somewhat, we're very seasonal in Bar Harbor. You're pretty seasonal in Ellsworth as well. What are those challenges that come up for hiring and staffing and retaining?
Yeah, it's a great question. And right now the challenges are just having enough people where not everyone is pulling double duty. And what happens when that goes on is, your employees redline, they get burnt out and tempers flare. And, so we try to limit that as much as possible, but it's impossible in the summer. It's just too busy. We try to bring on more people to alleviate, some of that. But if there's no one around, we just have to, push through it.
Right.
And it's a lot. It's a lot, morning, day, and night. So challenging for sure.
It really is. And in addition to the restaurant, you have offsite catering that you do as well.
Yeah, I'm a private chef for a lot of the families up here in Northeast Harbor and Bar Harbor and beyond. And so that pulls me out of the kitchen. So now we're writing whole different menus for other people, not being able to be at the restaurant at night. And sometimes my wife has to work on fry station. It's all hands on deck, to get it done. So lucky enough, I have a lot of great staff that are loyal, and they, no matter what I say, they're like, okay, let's do it. So I owe a lot to them to, that keep us afloat.
Well, you say you have a small team. You do have great retention, especially in the front of house. I want to understand more of how you create that culture and what the culture is.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think, one of the beginning things was that we put our employees first, and we wanted to create a culture where people want to be there. They want to work. They feel like they're part of something. And one day I think if we're never doing Provinder anymore, that they won't just remember me or the chef, but they'll remember everybody in the restaurant. Because being welcomed by Caitlin the bartender, and everybody knows everybody. So we wanted to create some place where this wasn't all about. It's all about Provinder, not about me, not about the food, but just about the people that work there. And I think it's worked out really well. We try to put them first and really try to create that work-life balance with everybody, which has been so difficult for me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I try not to put that on everybody else. It's not their restaurant. So try to make things as easy as we can for them.
And you've talked about with me a little bit the fact that it can be challenging in the Ellsworth area to find someone who really wants to learn how to chef, that they're more looking to collect a paycheck.
Right. That is in this area where we're not surrounded like the big food cities where there's 100 fine dining restaurants and the cooks are a dime a dozen. Right now, the people that we're getting in, that's their second job, they're looking to make a paycheck, but getting the aspiring chef to come in and to really take over, someone who's looking to be me, take my job, has been a little challenging for us to come in, so we're trying to do epic stuff with some people that maybe this isn't their career, and they're not invested. It's not their passion. They still work hard and they do it all, but it's a little bit more difficult, than if you had 10 college, culinary graduates applying, So again, another facet of the challenging time in labor.
What
Yep.
surprised you most about doing what you're doing? What caught you off guard or surprised you and you weren't expecting?
It's another great question. And I think coming up here, when I was bringing, city-esque food up here and people weren't, they're like, oh my God, pork belly, what's that? And but the willingness for people to come and try it all.
Mhm.
And, some of the people who I thought that would be a deer in the headlights looking at the menu are now some of our best customers. So we, not only did we do a lot of things with different things with food, but we educated as well, I thought, so it was nice to see, now people trust us. They see something on the menu, they order it. Even if they're like, I don't know if that's maybe a little out of their comfort zone. They try it and they love it. And then, it's all worked out really well.
Yeah.
One thing we talked about last week too was how your business pivoted during COVID, which was really challenging for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses didn't survive. Can we talk about what worked for you?
Yeah, I'd love to. There's no doubt that COVID changed the outlook of restaurants, probably for good now. And, I'm really proud of what we accomplished during that time. I always say, I wouldn't want to do it again. But, we were able to transition very quickly to go meals. We did a lot for the community, serving over 1,700 free meals to frontline employees, feeding the school kids at the time when there was no school. So it was very important to us to be able to be there for the community. And we even changed the concept of the restaurant. We became an Italian restaurant for a little while, something different for for people to come out to, and just. The community, I really owe it to the community for supporting us. No matter what we did, they were there. If we did a Mexican takeout, people were waiting on the streets outside. If we did, no matter, we were able to keep our employees the whole time. We never closed. So everybody was working. It was really an amazing time, and I think I'll never forget it. I think looking back, even for my whole career, what we did for COVID at the restaurant, maybe the most accomplished thing I've ever done.
Wow.
So I was really proud of everybody and the way we did it. So, but glad it's over.
Yeah, glad it's over. And I think you even mentioned that you had an online ordering system in place before COVID started.
So exactly, we opened up with online ordering. So, customers are already familiar with our online ordering. We've had it for 3 years going. So we were able to say, okay, just order online. And where a lot of other restaurants were caught off guard, I think a lot of the smaller restaurants and a lot of other restaurants that maybe had the same menu for a very long time, didn't know where to go, what to do. And it took a while to transition into doing that, where all those things were already in place for us, and, kind of being creative, I was able to come up with these things pretty quickly. We were pushing the panic button right away, with all the things that were happening,
right.
Restaurants closing and where we're going to open, what was going to happen next. It was a scary time, for sure.
As a fellow restaurant owner, I'm fascinated by the chef owner dynamic and what that role is. I've never done that. Can you tell us more about the benefits and also the challenges that come with being the chef and the owner as well?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a fine line to separate. I want to be, the chef that is everyone's buddy, and that we kind of forming this culture that they can kind of come to me with anything, and we can work together, get the job done, and then we all go home. But I'm also HR because I'm the owner, so I have to deal with the things that come up on that end all the time, So I've kind of changed my management style a little bit, where I'm not micromanaging everybody anymore, kind of letting people go off on their own, doing these things, making mistakes, but holding high accountability, that everybody knows what they need to do. And if you don't have it, don't come to me at 7:00 and say, well, I didn't really cut any Brussels sprouts. Well, why not? You needed to do it. So I'm not right next to everybody all the time. They're kind of all doing their own thing. Everybody who's been there for a while knows the menu, knows what they need to do. I have to separate myself a little bit because I have to make a managerial decision or an owner decision to do these things. I love everybody. I mean, I had to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But if someone's going to not call, not show 2 days in a row, I can't just be like, well, he's doing a great job and all that. Like,
Yeah.
there has to be standards. If I let that go, then everybody feels that's what we accept here. And no matter how much I like them, as working next to them on the line, I'm also the owner too, and I have to make those decisions all the time.
What has that opened up for you in making that shift from how you used to be to how you are now?
Yeah, I think it makes it a little easier. But at the same time, I think the employees are different now a little bit. I remember coming up in the industry where it was a badge of honor for everyone to work as much as they could, as hard as they could, wanted to learn all the things. And I feel that's changed a little bit. So I can't, maybe talk with them as if they're going to be moving on to other restaurants. And, I kind of have to take it kind of piece by piece, so it's been a challenging in that way. The Gen Z kind of generation coming up, I very feel that they value their time more than they do value money. So, they're there, but they're not, they're not looking to work any overtime, looking to put in, they're there to get the job done and that's it, and kind of move on. Where in my generation industry coming up, it was a little bit opposite. I was ready to sacrifice that time to learn all the things I possibly could and to move up in my career. I'm just not seeing that right now.
That's a common struggle. I think it's a struggle for every generation with the one behind them, but this especially is such a clear difference between what work means. And I actually spoke with a Gen Z person recently and I said, what do you wish the older generation knew about leading you? And she said, I wish that people would give us more context as to why we're doing what we're doing and not just say, because I said so, basically, but we're doing it this way because of this so they can have more buy-in. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. It's kind of what we all wish we had.
Sure.
But she feels that's really important to her generation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, you can say what you want about Gen Z, like, oh, everyone's like, oh, they're lazy, they don't want to work. But at the same time, or maybe they, like I said, they value their time more. I don't know if I can be upset about that.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
They want balance.
Yeah, they
and
do.
That's fair.
Now, I think they could give a little bit more on the balance end.
I'm not going to argue with that.
I know I am. So I would like to see a little bit more on that end.
Yes.
To pick up a little bit and to be more, in the moment. And no, not when things get hard, that it doesn't mean you have to leave. I tell everybody, when I'm cooking on the line, and if I don't say please or thank you, or if I have to say, no, I don't want this, do it again. Like, we will be friends at 9 p.m. I promise you, but that's my job now. I have to make sure that things going out of the kitchen, are perfect. And I may not always be the nicest person about it, but it's just business. It's not personal.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's received well? Like they have that framework and so then they're fine about it, or they still...
Sometimes, it's not always gone that way. But I do that. It is part of my spiel when I hire people. Like, don't take anything personally. All our plating techniques are very kind of just, this has to be here, this has to be there. If you don't get it right the first time, it's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. We'll just do it again. So if everybody just kind of went with that, and I know it's stressful. And I know it's everybody's under a lot of pressure, when I'm, giving orders and saying, oh, we need this and we need that, but I tell everybody it's just food. We're not curing cancer here. No one's going to die at 9:30 tonight,
Yes.
So do the best you can.
We hope.
Right. Yes. Do the best you can. If you have to do something again, just do it. I'm not looking for an excuse like, well, no, this wasn't here, or so-and-so bumped into me. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just do it again, bring it back, and we'll talk about it later. No reason to get upset.
That's the tricky part that I don't think that there's enough understanding about, especially people who haven't worked the line, that haven't been dishwashers. They, you're not just someone who understands how to make delicious food. as a restaurant owner, there's so many. You're managing the public, you're managing a staff, you're managing vendors to bring you food.
Yeah, we wear many hats.
yeah.
Many hats on a daily basis. And listen, we've set the standards so high now that the pressure for me is greater.
Yeah.
That I want to make sure everything is great. One of the lines I always say is like, if you want good, go down the street. But if you want great, come to Provinder. And if one of my cooks brings me like the tomato sauce, I'm like, you taste it? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm like, well, if it's not great, we don't do it. Bring it back to me when it's great. So setting those standards, and the people that are coming in those are their expectations now. So I see why all these Michelin star chefs are, either like burnt out, committing suicide, doing this, like living up to those expectations every day is brutal.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't make a mistake. And I hold myself up to these standards as well every day, and it's it's difficult.
Very.
Difficult. I think that's why the restaurant industry as a whole recently has kind of gotten a red flag, or because how it all operates, the long hours, the low pay, the working the weekends, and that's kind of the reputation restaurants have right now in the yelling, the chefs are yelling in the stressful environments. But I think a lot of people don't know that's not exactly true anymore. I think that's changing.
It is.
The culture of the restaurant is changing, and it happens from the inside out. If you want it to change, your restaurant has to do it first. It doesn't just happen. So I think coming into the restaurants that understand that, and they're creating a different culture than it was. It's not the 80s. It's not Anthony Bourdain's 90s anymore. That we're trying to work less, create a balance, and make it a much more approachable career for people coming up in it. So I'd like to acknowledge that it's not always what you see on TV. It's not what's happening.
It's not the bear.
It's not. It's not at all.
I always say it rolls downhill. And whenever we're looking and we're seeing there's a culture issue within the business, I always look at myself first, because it's all stemming from the owner or the chef, whoever's at the top. And the culture around restaurants is changing because we want to give the next generation, which is the main workforce, what they're looking for. And I think for them to know, we need to change the industry to match the people who will be working in it. And they're quite powerful, and it is working.
It is. I agree. And I think eventually over time, it will definitely help. It's such a great skill. Cooking is a life skill. And I think everybody should have the opportunity, if they're interested in it, not to be concerned about, the inside workings of the restaurant, that they can come in, they can apply to a restaurant and know they're going to be treated fairly, paid properly, and, get what they're worth, so I hope that people kind of take to that. And if you love cooking and you want to give it a try, don't follow everything you see on TV.
Well, I'd like to say to the listeners and the viewers that if you're looking for a job and this culture sounds good for you,
Right.
Darren is hiring.
Yes, give me a call.
Provinder is a great place to get your start in this. Really, it is a special career and gives you so many skills that you can take with you no matter where you go. So.
Yeah, I agree. I was telling the kids, the younger kids that work with me, that, when they are off to college now, like they don't have to have ramen. They can cook themselves something to eat, and they'll know how to cook pasta properly, or, cook a piece of chicken breast and know when it's done, so.
And that's hot.
Yeah.
I think that they need to know in college.
Right.
Cooking is hot.
It's true. I think they're definitely going to benefit from it. So I hope they listen to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Before we close out today, what are you famous for?
Well, if I had to pick one thing, I would definitely say the PKB burger at Provinder. We've been open 8 years. We've sold over 10,000 burgers.
Wow.
And it has really kind of taken on a life of itself. And we've won the best burger in the Downeast Maine. For, I don't know, every year we've been open, I think.
Wow.
So it has quite the following. So I think if you're ever going to come to Provinder, there's many things to choose from, but you might as well just try the burger first so you can get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Perfect. And where can people find you online?
Yep. So we're at eatprovinder.com, 112 Main Street in Ellsworth. Facebook, Instagram, well, all of it. So
And it's Provinder Kitchen on Instagram, I know.
yes, that's
Yes.
right. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. It was a blast. Thank you.
Yeah.